Hi, Coach Ryan here. Have a question. Do you struggle staying focused or staying on track? Wait. If that's to you, you got to tune into this episode because our guest is going to give you simple steps to stay focused in the times you need it most. Episode 33 of the More Than ADHD Podcast. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm Ryan Mayer, certified ADHD coach, neuroinclusion consultant, and most importantly, your accountability partner to handle and navigate through the storms of life caused by the way your brain is wired with ADHD, just like mine. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. I know. I say all of the guests are special, and this one is true. You're going to get so much value today. I already know it. I've known this guest now for 5 years. It's wild to even think that, but time flies when you're having fun and you're making progress. Today's guest knows a thing or two about business, not just any business, a business that actually fits the life that you want. Jason VanDevere. He's an author, he's a business owner, entrepreneur, and founder of Goal Crazy. And his story is incredible. He walked away from the successful family business because he wanted to blaze his own trail. He built a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio, an international, global business, launched a best-selling Goal Crazy planner. I'm the proud owner of several, and now helps tens of thousands of people to identify and then pursue their dreams. Jason's been featured in a lot of places that you probably know about, like Fast Company and Markets Insider. And today he's here to help me and all of you understand how people with ADHD, whether or not you own your own business or not, all professionals and people with ADHD, how you can stay focused, validate your ideas, and create businesses that don't take over your entire life. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can just gently tap the notification icon so that you never miss these gems that we are bringing you every single month. Just a quick reminder, ADHD merch is live. If you're ready to make a statement about the way your brain is wired, I've got my brain superhero shirt on. I've got my ADHD hat. Check out ryanmayercoaching.com to see what merch we've got available. And also, when you visit the website, there's a couple of things I want to draw your attention to. Make sure to check out the masterclass. All of my best core coaching principles are in there for you for free at ryanmayercoaching.com. And don't worry, there's more. You can also download several free digital resources, including your guide to creating and crushing goals with ADHD. So make sure you're checking those things out. But just remember, I am here for you. You can book a call with me and my team and let us know how can we help you. And of course, as always, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do that so we can reach more people in this inclusion revolution. Subscribe, share, and the very best thing you can do is comment below. So now let's turn it over to Jason. Jason, welcome to the More Than ADHD podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. This will be the next one on my bio, as seen on the More Than ADHD podcast. So I'll have to let the next podcast I'm on know.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, it's always good to see you, my friend. And I was so glad that we reconnected. So to start things off, tell us a little bit about you and kind of what your journey's been like, Jason.
Yeah. So in like a quick summary here, kind of like you talked about, my dad is a car dealer. So if you ever come to Akron, Ohio, you'll see our last name, VanDevere, all over. VanDevere, Kia, Cadillac, whatever. They've got 5 dealerships. So I was in line to be part of the 4th generation to take over this portfolio of dealerships. So I worked there for a lot of years. It wasn't for me. I learned a lot when I was there, but it didn't connect with a passion of mine. So I left, even though everyone told me it was a crazy idea to design this planner called Goal Crazy, which you mentioned. Had no idea what would happen next, but it started turning into then workshops and courses and coaching programs, a podcast of my own. Somehow on the side, I've been able to get a few rental properties, but I would say like, there's my highlight reel. But the reality is like, I'm just figuring this out as I go.
Yes.
Just like probably lots of the people listening, like I get pulled a lot of different ways, and it's how can I keep myself focused on the next thing so I can make an impact with my actions.
I love that. And in fact, that gets into really what I wanted us to be able to hone in on for the meat of the show, which is with ADHD, we struggle staying on track. We struggle staying consistent. And you've really taken the deep dive to learn the science, to learn the best techniques. You've learned from the experts. So what things do you think that the audience should know about these kind of challenges?
Yeah. I think what's helped me so much is getting clear on the answer to this question. What do you want to do with your life? You can give a framework, I feel like, of how you can answer that. But once you get clear on this is what I really want to do with my life, you're still going to have many other options present themselves. But when you have a clear, here's the target I'm aiming at, it gives you the confidence to say yes to the things that align with it. But even more importantly, it gives you the confidence to say no to all the things that don't align with that. Uh, so I think that's it. And if you want, I can explain how I've helped people and how I've been able to find what that answer to the question is.
How did you figure that out in your life?
Yeah. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. My dad, he would have us do these different goal setting activities when we were growing up. And one of the things he really stressed the importance of was dreaming. And I'm going to define what dreaming is compared to goals.
Mm-hmm.
Dreams, they don't have to be realistic. You're simply just letting your mind explore what would you love to do with your life. And you dream. They don't have to be realistic. They're not things you're actually going to do. They might be, but they don't necessarily need to be. They're not time bound, right? When we compare that to a goal, when we set a goal, it's something we're actually going to do. There's a time limit. It's realistic. And a lot of times people think dreams are more like fantasies, so they don't do it. But the thing is when we have dreams, it starts to reveal to us what we really want to do with our life. Because we're constantly asking ourselves, what would I love to do? What would I love to do? And when we have dreams, we can create goals that align towards those dreams that we want. If we don't have dreams, we can still have goals, but they lack meaning because they're not aiming at anything bigger, right? Like you can set a goal to do anything. You could go set a goal to write a pop-up book about penguins, right? And like you could break down a plan and do it. But if that's not connected to a dream of yours, it's not going to do anything. If your goals don't have meaning, you end up in this place that I call survival mode. You're just working to stay afloat, right? Like you're not working towards anything bigger. But once you have dreams, now all of your goals have purpose. They're working towards something bigger than themselves. And now, just like I said, you have purpose for your life. So my dad would have us do these dreaming exercises where we would make lists of things we dreamed about doing. And there were things that kept coming up again and again. I loved planners. I loved journaling, weird hobby, but this idea of designing my own planner, it lit a fire inside of me. It excited me. Designing a planner and buying real estate, it was just clear this is what I want to do. And because of that, I was willing to overcome the challenges, which maybe you're not trying to start a business or buy rentals, but I feel like most things in life are hard, right? Like, but if you have this desire, if your desire is bigger than the challenges that you're facing, you're going to overcome it. But if it's the other way, if your desire is just like a little bit and you're hit with these big challenges, you're going to give up and find something else. So I think great place for people to start is you got to dream. I believe I do this thing called daily dreaming. I put my headphones in, I pace around in my basement for 10 minutes a day with music that inspires me, and I just dream about what I want to do. It sounds crazy. I know it is. I agree it is. But it gets me so clear on this is what I want to do with my life. And when somebody else or something else arises that doesn't align with that, I have the confidence to say no. So, really long answer. Hopefully, you picked something up somewhere in there.
I mean, I picked up so much that I'm like, okay, that's it. We're done with the episode because, I mean, so much gold in there, Jason. Like, I think about that phrase, teamwork makes the dream work. And I was thinking, dream work makes the dream work.
Like it.
And that's what you're doing every day. And I love that you're also engaging your emotion and your body. So you're bringing a bunch of senses into it, walking in your basement. That's great. And I can relate in a deep way to the part when you said, like, the desire has to be bigger than the challenge. And if it isn't, that's when you're just going to be overwhelmed. And when I was in corporate, I remember just feeling totally hopeless. I very much was. I think you mentioned survival mode. Like, that's how I felt every day because my only goal basically was to not get fired. Like, that's
Yeah.
not an awesome goal.
No.
And then once I learned about ADHD coaching and that I could be the change that I wanted to see in this specific area, this little slice of the world of people with ADHD, I feel like I embody what you just described because I'd never thought of it in the way you just said it. And I love it. Like, if your desire is greater than the challenge, you'll be willing to do anything. It's kind of like I remember the motivational speaker Les Brown says, if your why is big enough, the how is just going to figure itself out.
Well, I think your story is such a great example of that because probably even like the ADHD tendencies were much harder to control. And I don't
Hmm.
know if that's the right word, but when you were in that corporate setting, because it wasn't like it was really aligning to as deep of a passion as when you were starting your business. It's like if you could directly see how trying to do 10 projects at once was going to make you fail, like now it's so clear. It's like, nope, I want to start this business. I'm dialed in. I'm going to do whatever it takes, even if it's weird things to get distractions out of your way. It's worth it because you want to do it.
One follow-up question just for fun. I'm wondering what other funny or unique things can you remember that were on your dream list growing up?
Hmm. One that's been there for a while is I want to see lava with my own eyes. Like go hike to the top of a volcano, go see the lava. My dream car is a 12 passenger van full of kids, which some people might think ridiculous. I don't know why you want a giant family like that, but that is my dream car, 12 passenger van. It's cool too because I can go back and look at these dream journals from when I was like 7 years old. My dad would have us do this all the time. And lots of them are silly, like have a TV in my room or have $1,000, have a girlfriend, things that yeah, I've surpassed. But there's still something rewarding when I can look back on these and see like one of them was start a business. And I wrote that down when I was just a little kid. And now I can look at it and be like, I actually did that. Right. That's been a dreaming that's been building within me. But other might be certain trips I've gone on. Yeah, random accomplishments.
No, those are great. And specific is terrific. That's another phrase that I use. Point, Jason, you talked about making sure you can make the target tangible, make the goal tangible. Because I remember another coach colleague of mine said, it's a plague of vague. Like you have to, if you want to hit a target, you have to have a target. So, how can people feel bad about falling short of their goals when they haven't actually made goals yet?
Yeah. That reminded me, one of my mentors told me, this was years ago, but he was like, Jason, what if I told you you could have everything you wanted in 3 years? But there's one condition. You have to be able to define what it is you want right now. Because the reality is, if you don't know what you want in 3 years, you're never going to be able to create it. And like, so you've used my planner before, and you know, there's these long-term goal sections, and I would encourage everyone to answer these prompts I'm going to give you. But there's these two prompts like 10 years from now, my age will be, my life will look like. In 3 years from now, my age will be, my life will look like. And I was given those prompts years and years ago. And I remember writing things down. I still remember I write things down. And most time, whatever I'm writing there, it feels crazy. It's like, how could this ever happen? Right. But one of the most rewarding things that I've been able to experience, and hopefully you and the listeners can experience, is now I can go back to these journals from years ago. And when I find these journals, I'll look to that page and I'll look at what I wrote. And almost every time I realize not only have I accomplished it, I've exceeded it. And I don't mean that in a bragging way. It's once you get started, things start to compound and things start growing quicker. And it might have seemed crazy at the time because you might have been starting at 0. But a lot of times once you go from 0 to 5, going from 5 to 25 might be even quicker than going from 0 to 5. You know, things just start going quicker. You got to take the action zone. And to do that, you need the clarity of what actions you should be taking.
What it makes me think of when you share that is how timely this is for me. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately around manifestation and the law of attraction and living from the place of abundance, where it's like envision that you're already there.
Mhm.
And for example, I was looking at the monetary goal that my business partners and I agreed for it to be an awesome month. I need to be able to bring in this amount. And I got really specific. And we just had our monthly meeting yesterday with our bookkeeper and we knocked it out of the park. And there's a bunch of things I thought things weren't going to close. They did. We ended up surpassing that threshold. But the fact is, it was that exact amount. And I just feel like that can't be a coincidence. I'm just wondering, have you, as you build these resources for people, has the law of attraction or the secret or that kind of stuff impacted or influenced your work?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see like the things that I think about all the time, they come about, right? We
Mhm.
become what we think about. I'm a big believer in that. I think you're going to have to take lots of actions. And I know you're not disagreeing with that, but I feel like sometimes people, maybe I haven't, sometimes the law of attraction could be pitched as like, you just got to think about it and it's all going to come. And maybe that's going to happen for some people. But I feel like for me, once I get really dialed in on what I want and it's clear, it's like taking action is fun. It's natural. It's what I want to do. But when it's not clear, it's hard to take challenging actions. And most time accomplishing a big goal, you have to take challenging actions. But once I have the clarity, I'm so clear on what it is that I'm going to get when I take these actions, and it's aligns with something I really want. It's clear. One little quick rant here. And I don't know, I imagine most of your listeners, they have challenges. They can relate with this. But I know for me, if you want to live an epic life, if you want to do something great, you're going to have to overcome challenges. Like lots of times I'm praying, I'm wanting this great life, but then I get all frustrated when challenges arise. And it's like, wait a minute, Jason, this is what I asked for, right? Like these aren't the enemy of my success. These are the requirement. If you want to go
Yes.
live a great life, you gotta overcome the challenges. And I always tell myself, this is what growth feels like. Affirmation, I probably say way too much, but this is what growth feels like. When it's hard, when you feel like you've given everything and it's still not working, it's like, this is what growth feels like. This is what you're going to have to do if you want to be successful.
I love that, and it makes sense to me. Here's one big question for you, though. A lot of our listeners may identify as neurodivergent or having ADHD. And one of the things that's sort of like common challenge for many of us is we will dive headlong into something and then we'll lose interest in it. So I'm just curious, any tips for those of us who may be wired that way of like how to stick with it?
Yeah. So this is where the dreaming thing, if you dream every single day, it's going to give you clarity. Because if I dream about something every day, if something isn't connected to a true desire of mine, it gets old. I stop dreaming about it. I have certain dreams that I've been dreaming about every day or like on and off for years and years. And every time I think about it, it fills me with energy, where other ones, they don't. You daydream about it here and there for a few days, a week, and then like your mind goes to the next thing. So I think it'll help you uncover what those real desires are that you actually want to do. Because a lot of times, if I'm just dreaming about something that I think will make me look really good to others, that might feel good a few times, but eventually it gets old. And it's kind of like you got to keep dreaming about it. It'll give you clarity on, is this something that's really a desire or just something that's an excitement that caught my attention?
And it's a great point because I know one of the phrases that's out there in the ADHD community, like the shiny object syndrome, or these various hobbies that might come up that are a fleeting interest. So that I think that that really hits home for a lot of us. I'm wondering, could we practice one of the exercises? Because you had talked about like daily dreaming, and I always want to make sure that our listeners can get something specific. After all, we were talking about the value of things that are specific. Do you have something you could share with them about that?
Yeah. Uh, like you want me to lead somebody through kind of like a guided visualization sort of activity?
Yeah, I mean, if that's something you're comfortable with, because I know you offer this for the people you work with too, right?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to we'll sit back in our chairs and I'll lead us through it. You can close your eyes, I'll close my eyes, and we can go along through this.
Coach Ryan does not condone closing your eyes while driving or operating a motor vehicle if it's safe.
Okay, before we do this, if you're listening, I want you to think of whether it's a long-term goal, short-term goal, a dream, something that would really excite you. It could be big, it could be small. It could be owning a rental property, it could be getting a promotion or going out to a restaurant and being able to order whatever you want without looking at the prices. I want you to just think of something that you would align with. Let's go ahead and sit back if you can. Go ahead and sit back, get comfortable, close your eyes, and let's take a deep breath in. Deep breath in, let it out. Let yourself relax. Let's take another deep breath in. Let it out. And I want you to bring into your mind's eye a scene of what it would look like after you've accomplished the goal that you really want for yourself. Bring this up in your mind. And I want you to look around at where you're at. Are you at home? Are you at work? Are you somewhere else? Are you alone? Are you with others? What are the sounds that you're hearing? What are the things you're seeing right now? If you are with others, are you listening to them? Are you talking to them? If you are talking to them, what are you talking to them about? And I would want you to experience, what would it feel like to be this future version of yourself who has accomplished this big accomplishment in your life? Let this feeling soak into your body. How would this future version of you breathe? How does it feel to be this? Do you feel lighter, heavier? After you've accomplished this in your life, what type of thoughts would you be having? What new opportunities would be on your horizon? I want you to let this image soak in. Take a mental screenshot of this scene. And I want you to imagine that this little screenshot is being played throughout your entire body. Every cell in your body has this image right now, and it's seeing it, it's feeling it, it's experiencing it. And let this soak in. And now I'm gonna have you do one last thing here is you're in this scene looking around as this future version of you. And I want you to imagine that this future version of you is able to look back and see the current you who is sitting here listening to me do this. What piece of advice would that future you give the current you to help the current you get there? What does the current you need to hear from that future version of yourself? I want you to let that advice soak in. I want you to let your body feel what you'd be like to embody that advice. You're on the trajectory towards this new version of yourself. And I'm going to count down from 3, and then we're going to hop back into this podcast. 3, 2, 1. Let's open our eyes.
Snap back to reality. Up, here comes dreams. Up, here comes goals. Up, here comes a future. Yeah, that was powerful.
Hopefully it can help somebody. And you don't have to do like that in depth if you're dreaming every day. You can just let your mind do whatever.
Anyone who is listening right now, if you have the ability to comment, depending on what platform you're watching us on, comment below. Let us know. Did you do the exercise? If so, what did you come up with? Because the more you put this out into the world, the greater the chance that it's going to happen.
Comment below too, what's that piece of advice your future you told you?
Yes.
There are common themes. I've done this with a lot of different people. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Maybe there's something very specific, like go out and take the action. What was that piece of advice? Because if you're not going to put in the comments, at least write it somewhere, because it's your subconscious begging for you to take this action.
I'm going to share what I wrote during the exercise. Yeah. We didn't prepare for this. We were just kind of riffing. So this was spontaneous. The exciting goal I wrote down was every client that I have, I'm able to connect them with a virtual assistant. And I have an executive virtual assistant that is essentially like, I called it my shadow, like someone who's with me to be like, Ryan, if you don't leave now, you're going to be late for the podcast with Jason, which my team already helps me out. And of course, this is a completely hypothetical scenario that did not happen for this episode. It did actually. And I envisioned myself receiving an award for revolutionizing the coaching industry and for people specifically with ADHD. And it was I was up on stage, an acceptance speech, receiving this award, but I just had so much humility because it wasn't about me. It was just about helping and serving. As a result, I got a book offer. And that was probably subconscious because Jason's inspiring me because I want to hear about your book. And then the piece of advice was open up. It's okay to ask for help, and God has a plan for you. Just embrace it. I'm like, whoa, okay, older me.
Those are good things. Open up. And kind of what you mean by that is don't be afraid to seek help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Jason, when you do the daily dreaming, is that a similar thing to this, or is it a little bit of a different format?
Sometimes I'll go through phases where I'll do lots of this sitting down like this, but I do really like pacing around. And sometimes I'll get animated with my body. Like if I'm imagining receiving this award, like people would think I'm crazy if they're watching me in my basement, but I'm going to be pacing around like I'm walking across the stage to receive that award, but like I'm letting myself experience it. And maybe it's me just getting too excited, but it helps me get laser focused on this is what I want. And I'm reminded of it when challenges arise. So I think both are powerful.
That's amazing. So are some of these concepts in your book? And for the audience who may not know, tell us about your book.
Yeah. So my book is called Dream Driven. Now, it's not going to connect with everybody because this is specifically for somebody who wants to start a business. It's going to start with the section that really helps you answer the question, what do you want to do with your life? And once you answer that question, it's going to help you create a business that'll be the means to create that lifestyle that you want. And then it'll walk you through the process of validating that business idea in the market. Make sure people actually want it before you spend time and money creating it, and then how to actually launch it. That's my book in a nutshell, Dream Driven.
And where can people find said book?
On Amazon, they search Dream Driven. Hopefully it should be the top thing that comes up. My name is Jason VanDevere. So if you want, you can throw in at least Jason. My last name is a little trickier to spell, but Dream Driven on Amazon. My website is goalcrazy.com. They can also learn more about it there, but that'll even direct them back to Amazon as well.
It's fantastic. And just as we're wrapping up here, because Jason is a man in demand, and right after this, he's going to be on another podcast. So I want to make sure to respect his time. What other tips would you give for people that are out there who may be struggling with ADHD? And again, this is usually universally applicable anyway, but what other things, whether it's concepts from your book or just, things you've picked up through your journey to help people stay focused if they feel like they're getting distracted all the time?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of break this process down a little bit more. Maybe this is going to be a longer answer than what you're looking for, but we kind of talked about like dreams. I think dreams place to start. After you get these dreams, we talk about those long-term goals, answering those 2 prompts, like 3 years from now, my age will be, my life will look like. But then I think what's going to break this down to something more tangible for people is every year I like to set what I call a breakthrough goal, one breakthrough goal. And this breakthrough goal is a goal that I want to accomplish that's so big, I cannot accomplish it now. It's outside of my current abilities. The only way I will accomplish this goal is if I force myself to improve. Maybe you've heard one of the quotes from Tony Robbins that's really popular is it's not about the goal, it's about growing to become the person who can achieve the goal. Look, if you share with me a goal and you are already confident you can accomplish it, I'm going to tell you that's not a goal. That's a to-do list item. Get it done. Your goal should be making a better version of you break free and live. And I want you to have that goal, something that's connected to your dream. Maybe you're able to create your dream. Maybe it's a milestone in the direction of it, but it should be something that will force you to improve as a person. And once I have that, then it's easier for me to say yes to the right things, say no to the right things. And after I have goals, I always make a no or not now list. Like, these are all the things I'm going to have to say no to. When I signed on with a publisher to write my book, I dropped all of my coaching clients. I stopped all of my paid ads for my business. Maybe in a year from now, I'll be talking to you, Ryan, and I'll tell you that was the worst decision I ever made. But it was like, if I said yes to those, I would have been saying no to my book by default, right? Set your breakthrough goal, and then I want you to make a clear list of these are the things I'm going to have to say no to.
And it's amazing because we've been talking a lot about this on the show and in content and with my clients too, because in order to say yes, you have to say no. I love it. Jason, you're a living example of what it's like to chase your dreams and not be willing to settle and having fun along the way. I want to talk about something that wasn't in your bio, but is an amazing accomplishment and is working towards one of your dream goals, which is getting that dream vehicle of the 12-passenger van and filling it with a family. Tell us a little bit about your family. And then last part, like, family's important to you as it is to me. Sometimes entrepreneurs or people with ADHD, we can hyper focus on things to the detriment. Like, sometimes maybe we're saying yes to the dream and forgetting to say yes to our family. So tell us about your family and then any final tips on balancing life.
Yeah. I'm married. We have 3 kids. Our kids are 3, 2, and 8 months old.
Yeah.
So like, we're keeping a pretty good pace right now.
You're in the thick of it.
Yeah, towards our goal. So for creating the balance, this will be more applicable to people who have a business, but I think this can really appeal to anybody with a career. Is I think when you're creating this dream, you should be trying to find the lifestyle that you want. I always tell people your dream or your business should not be the end. It should be the means. And I will say that's the same with your career. Your career in general, it should be the means, not the end. And what I mean by that is your lifestyle is the end. Your career should be the means to create it. Now, I think people, when they set goals, the first thing they think of is their career. And look, I'm a very big fan of you creating career goals for yourself. But when people have their goals all around their career and nothing else, they often succeed. And now their career overtakes their entire life. When the lifestyle, that is the goal. Sometimes people ask me, like, well, how can you have all these kids and do these trips and this when you have these businesses? And it's like, well, look, I can have these kids and I can have these trips because I have these businesses. The end that I'm going after is the lifestyle. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be clear on what's the lifestyle that you want. And going back to the yes or no, I feel like I'm repeating things, but now you can create targets that align with it. I do some specific things to create boundaries for myself. I have timers that go off all the time. If our call starts at 2:00 at 1:50, I'm going to have a timer that goes off that tells me it's time to go switch gears to get ready for Ryan. I have a timer that goes off at the end of the day every day that tells me it's time to switch gears to be with family. I have called an end of workday routine, which helps me mentally switch from work. So a lot of times people, you have your morning routine and end of the day routine. Great. I have an end of workday routine. I don't have a commute. Most people, their end of workday routine is their commute, and then it helps them switch gears. So for me, I stop work at 4:45. So at 4:35, 10 minutes before, I go through my end of the workday routine. For me, I clean my office, I journal, and I write out the plan for tomorrow. So that way, when I leave my office, there's nothing hanging over my head. It's not like, oh, shoot, I have to text Ryan this thing. Because if I was, I would have either texted him already or it would be written down to do tomorrow. So now my evening is truly blank space in my calendar because everything was either done today or it's written with a plan to get it done tomorrow. And it really helps my mind to separate and go be present with my family. So highly recommend.
I'm so glad that we did take the time to do that because you've inspired me so much throughout the whole episode. But I'm going to keep myself accountable and text you when I try out the Jason VanDevere end of day routine of cleaning the office, journaling, and goals for tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
Jason, always good to see you. Congratulations on all the success, cheering you on for much more. And make sure that you check out Jason's book, Dream Driven, on Amazon. You can also go to goalcrazy.com to learn more about him, the work he does. But I just want to say thanks for tuning in to the More Than ADHD podcast. You're not alone, not anymore. And making sure you're not alone. One last thing, be sure to join our digital community so that you can connect with others all around the world who are wired just like you. We'll talk to you next time.